¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, Yellow King, Michael Hassler. How's it going, everybody? Sorry about that. Whew. Welcome. Okay. All right, folks. I have got to keep the stream on schedule today because I have to go to the store afterwards. So we definitely have a few things to cover. So I think we should get started. All right, folks. Let's talk about this. I got a few clips. A clip and a video, and then we'll move on to some headlines.
And Ryan, I understand you've got some new information just in the past couple of minutes about the senator who had been out for a while because of health problems.
Because of health problems. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Senator Dianne Feinstein of California, who has been under a pretty intense spotlight since she last left the Senate in early February after she was suffering from a bad case of shingles. It left her out.
Where she was absent for months. But, okay. Alio, the company behind Donald Trump's True Social platform, has filed a $3.78 billion defamation suit against the Washington Post. Good luck. Good luck. And I bet you this is gonna come like off like another new grift. Like, what is Trump gonna do to fund this lawsuit? Is he gonna like sell more NFTs or something? I mean, he's already like 5 million in the hole. Yeah, but you also need money to fuel the lawsuit. How is he making that happen? Is he gonna he's gonna have to have another grift, right? Is he gonna set a new round of unique NFT, Trump NFTs? Also, just a quick thank you to Not My Password and Casey Lee IRL for the offline follows. I appreciate that. This is the link? Oh, okay. Well, we'll go over it, I guess. This is a good meme. All right.
Out of Senate business for several months because the complications from shingles turned out to be much more difficult than anyone had previously realized. And the New York Times initially reported, NBC News has now been...
Yeah, like, just to be clear, like, shingles it usually happens, I guess, to more elderly people. It's not a joke. It's rough. Okay? It's rough. And depending, these side effects could be severe. And it looks like she definitely got hit hard. Which is all the more reason why she should be open to taking an early retirement. I'm just saying. Hey, Becky, how's it going? Excellent stream today, by the way. Folks, if you have a second, please consider going to twitch.tv/Beccasphere and go giving her a follow and all that awesome stuff. And also follow her YouTube channel, okay? That's what this. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's what you need to do. My 50 to 95-year-old from 50 to 95-year-old shingles virus infection hurts anyone's body. Gotcha. My 95-year-old grandma had shingles a few months ago and is still experiencing the side effects from it. Jesus. From what I understand, shingles isn't that dangerous, but it's extremely painful. Yeah, it's not a joke. Early retirement is like 55. A few months early is what we're talking about. I mean, like tomato, she retires a little bit earlier. I mean, it's probably for the best in terms of like everybody involved. But here we are. Making this, what, 80, 89? She's 89, right? Yeah. This 89-year-old woman who is clearly suffering from side effects, or who's clearly suffering from her bout with shingles being essentially wheeled around Congress.
Been able to confirm
instead of just like, I don't know, just stepping down.
that in addition to the shingles, she also came down with a case of encephalitis, which is often a complication that comes from shingles, and that can often lead to different issues like memory loss and other symptoms.
Which, by the way, she is experiencing. Like, no joke. She is experiencing. She's having trouble remembering conversation that she had with like members that day. I mean, why won't she retire? There's different speculations and hypotheses. But I can't really tell you. There is speculation that it has something to do with Nancy Pelosi, in an effort to shore up Adam Schiff's bid for Senate. I don't know. The older person is unless very healthy, virus and operations can take longer to heal. Right? Yes.
She was also dealing with a partial paralyzation of her face.
Maybe she's actually a lizard underneath that human exterior. No. No. Because Americans' democratic system is a joke. True. Welcome, Spread It Forward.
Which many of us saw in person here when she returned to Capitol Hill. That's also a byproduct of the complications from shingles. Feinstein has received some calls from Democratic members in California to step down from her post. There are many that are concerned that she is not up to the day-to-day job of being a United States Senator. But Chris, she is back now. She is casting votes. There have been a number of those judicial nominations.
We're being controlled by geriatrics. Unironically, yes. Yes, unironically, when she's like the oldest sitting senator and refuses to step down. Whether it be because she doesn't want to, or whether it be like whether it be because she doesn't want to, or some like Game of Thrones type deals going on in the background here. I have no idea. I'm trying to sound ageist. No. I mean, we gotta draw lines here, okay? Like, I'm sorry. At some point, like, damn, can we acknowledge like that these boomers are like careening us off the cliff? No brakes. I'm just saying.
that were held up.
We have like a situation where like an 89-year-old sitting senator is not remembering conversations that she just had. Is she even a boomer? I don't know. 89, does that count? Oh, silent generation, gotcha. I'm 32 and I'm feeling old. How is she trying to... Hey, listen, hold up. I'm gonna stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. 32? 32 is not old, okay? Just putting that out there. How is she trying to maintain status? Power. She's almost the greatest. Oh, man. Jeez. It's a luxury for her to be able to work at her age. Both my parents were forced into early retirement at 55. Sheesh. But I've seen a lot better politicians. I've seen a lot of politicians apparently forget questions that they were asked. Yeah, sometimes it happens, but this is not that, okay? A 100-year-old senator and 100-year-old House of Representatives may need to retire. Not may, they should. There should be like some type of rules over here, you know? She's in my grandparents' generation, lived through World War II. Jeez.
In the committee that she serves on, because she wasn't able to vote, they've now been able to move some of those through. And she is here today, and her staff say that she will continue to work and stay on the job despite these growing concerns about her health.
Yeah, okay. Whew. Or she can retire. Just saying. What age limit would you like to see on a serving senator? 75, about right. I think that we should probably have better term limits. I think we should have better rules with regards to term limits. The test. Woman, man, camera, book, TV. Oh, no. Honestly, she probably could. Book wasn't in there. Oh, no! Shoot, did I just fail the test? Is it woman, person? Wait, is it woman? No, woman, man. Oh, no, I forgot. Okay. Opposite. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Oh, man. We both failed that one. She's talking all the Senate fund. I'll bet she drinks a lot of champagne after those parties. I don't think she's in the position to do that. Someone made a song with it that's still stuck in my head. Gotcha.
This episode is brought to you by Nebula. If you'd like to help support this channel, and First Thought...
How's it going, the Simulacra? I don't think I said hi to Spread It Forward either.
And the Deprogram, consider signing up for Nebula at the link below.
War. Huh. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Adam Smith, 1969.
If it's...
Wait, what? Huh? Except Trump bragged about remembering something 5 minutes later, and I'm pulling that from years ago. True.
Seems like we can't get enough of war right now. That's because it's true. We love war, and everyone thinks it's great. But back in the old days, people used to think war was bad. What people? Only one people. Men in funny wigs and tall socks. During the Enlightenment, liberal thinkers were the first to come up with the idea of having a conscience and morals. Except when it came to non-white people and women, who they cleverly figured out aren't people, and therefore deserve jack shit.
True. Hi, people. Good to be here. Missed the stream. Too many streams are self-serving. Yep.
Nonetheless, the early thinkers of liberalism figured out doing good things and not doing bad things, including, because it's the topic.
Yes. The very, very deep philosophical analysis of saying, like, maybe do good things, and that's good, and doing bad things is bad.
Of this video on webdomain youtube.com, war. But instead of being all sad,
I love these videos. It's going to be at least somewhat self-serving when you need it to pay your bills. Yeah, that's true. I guess it's a little different when that's kind of dependent on that. Versus like me already having a job. What is this, a PBS tribute? Maybe Second Thought is going in that direction. I don't know. I like it.
Sad about war, liberals also figured out how to fix the world and stop war from happening entirely. Free trade.
But that, wait. That just created a new form of war.
From the first thinkers of liberalism, Smith, Montesquieu, Voltaire, Hume, Kant, to the greatest thinker of our time, Bush Jr. The idea that
all those streams will incredible run me, mine. So tiring and cringe. I think, I mean, like, yeah. I think that there is going to be an element of that. I guess it just depends on like how much of that, and how much like the simulacra said is at play here.
Global capitalist free trade means peace and good times for all has well and truly endured.
And the momentum of freedom is growing. We have reached a moment of tremendous promise.
Yeah, let me free the shit out of you with American foreign policy.
And the United States will seize this moment for the sake of peace. Across the globe, free markets and trade have helped defeat poverty and taught men and women the habits of liberty.
Wait. The free market across the globe have defeated poverty? Bro, have you seen the United States? Even during his time? Okay. Cool.
Propose the establishment of a U.S. Middle East free trade area within a decade to bring the Middle East into an expanding circle of opportunity.
Yeah. In other words, we're going to democratize the shit out of you with our foreign policy.
Look, I'm playing it up a bit, but the liberal thesis really isn't that complicated. War is bad for business, and business is good for business. So if countries begin trading together and make it easier by dropping things like tariffs, embracing capitalism and the invisible hand of the market, peace will endure because war becomes just too costly by comparison. Boom, just like that. The idea is that a global network of mutual interdependence ensures the aggressor in any given conflict can't trigger a war without suffering
famous quotes, mission accomplished.
Domestic economic repercussions. And that means the appeal of war, spoils, progressively gives way to what we used to call peace dividends back in the 2000s. Everyone's happy. And the thing about the capitalist peace theory is that if you think of it in very narrow terms, it can kind of make sense. There's some logic to it, and within very specific parameters, there's even some not terrible research backing it up. But then there's the other side of the freely traded coin. Capitalist peace is BS. Really, it's a simple story covering up a brutal reality. One of colonialism, imperialism, exploitation, and of course, profit. Let's start with recent history and a pretty unfortunate piece of evidence for the defenders of capitalist peace. What you're looking at right now is a graph. It's a graph of BP, Chevron, Texaco, Exxon, and other oil companies' returns on equity relative to the average for a Fortune 500 company. What's interesting about this graph is whenever these companies start doing badly and not making as much profit as other Fortune 500 companies, suddenly, out of nowhere, who could have seen this coming? An energy conflict begins in the Middle East.
Interesting.
And then, not long after, but completely out of nowhere again, they all suddenly start performing really well, eating up market share and getting returns that the average Fortune 500 company can't. The researchers behind this graph actually discovered 3 things about what it says.
Ever wonder what the world would look like?
One,
Yeah, Bush accomplished setting up his Halliburton friends into billions, if not trillions, in contract. True, mission accomplished indeed. And if that's under that context, then yes.
The conflict in the Middle East was preceded by oil companies having a dip in profits relative to the average. 2, every energy conflict was followed by a period during which the oil companies beat the average. And 3, this is the really damning one, with only one exception in 1997, oil companies never managed to beat the average without an energy conflict first taking place. To simplify all that and state the most obvious thing about wars in the Middle East, war is profitable and peace actively sucks butt. Of course, wars are complicated events and never a matter of one single thing. But if I didn't know any better, I'd be inclined to say that conflicts in the Middle East weren't thwarted by capitalism, nor did they teach people the habits of liberty and peace so much as they grew the profits of a handful of companies in the imperial core.
That was the point, yes. We knew. Well, after the fact, but like, all of this was predicated on bullshit. The entire premise of us being there was bullshit. That's why the GOP did not want the Bush family anymore. Are you sure about that? They're like very revered. I don't know if I could agree with that. They very much they very much value the Bushes and conservatism.
Sadly, unfortunately for my shot-in-the-dark guess about why wars start, there is absolutely no evidence of people serving in senior government positions during these wars who benefited from or had any sort of important role in the arms and fossil
They wanted Jeb. The schmuck just has no personality. Even the GOP wanted fresh blood. I don't know about that. Dino shit, true. I disagree. I think conservatives and the GOP are perfectly fine with a candidate like a Bush.
fuel industry. The thing is, wars can be cheap. Wars can often even be profitable for a range of domestic industries. Unlike what capitalist peace assumes, it's not always the case that war is the more costly option. Not just that, we know for a fact that corporations exert a tremendous amount of control over government policy. So even if wars are bad for a lot of people, so long as they're good for the few with power, wars just happen. Pair private interests with states that have the muscle to fight wars free of consequence, and all companies need to figure out is an excuse to start one. Now, for those who defend the capitalist peace theory, the fact that these wars are being waged for capitalist profit, and in the case of many Middle Eastern wars, to force free trade agreements, isn't necessarily a contradiction. Free trade trumps everything, so they might even argue that one war right now in exchange for peace and profit forever is a good trade-off. But obviously this is a no good, very bad, ew gross argument. It's never just one quick war. In fact, it's been centuries of long and brutal conflict.
Yeah, it's cyclical. It's kind of like the boom bust kind of deal. That's why the GOP... No, the GOP didn't want Trump. The party did not want Trump. They knew. you could make an argument for like maybe the cult members, the supporters of the GOP wanted or ended up voting for Trump, but the party itself did not want Trump. I think RFK is a Republican plant trying to steal votes from Dems. Conservatives are hyping him way too much. But like, I'm be honest. He's not gonna get very far. if he cracks double digits, I'll be surprised.
Let's talk about the Enlightenment again. Liberal philosophy's development has
That's as much as I'll give him. Like double digits at most.
historically coincides pretty closely with colonialism and the age of European empires. While philosophy bros waxed poetic about equality, a regime of horror that many of them fully condoned or at minimum considered inevitable was busy plundering the rest of the world piece by piece. And it wasn't an accident that the two worked together. European capitalists got into colonialism not just for fun, not just because they could now that they had their better ships and guns, but because they needed to. Domestic capitalist markets steadily become less profitable, and the best solution to that entropy problem is, and always has been, expansion. That was on the material front. But they needed justification for what would just be straight up murder, and for that, the liberal philosophers' rhetoric of bringing civilization and trade to the rest of the globe gave them a clear conscience. Wars just became part of the process by which capitalism, already associated with the ideas of civilization and freedom, and soon enough, peace, would come to take over the world. Let me rephrase. The point is, colonialism didn't come out of nowhere. Profit demanded that wars had to be waged. Just like today, powerful countries and the companies that made them up wanted their hands on foreign resources, people, and markets. We don't usually think of colonization as a process of war-making nearly as much as we do a process of domination, because that second part lasted a lot longer.
Imagine if Al Gore had won. Yep. Imagine. On an alternate timeline where maybe, things would be things would be different.
But it's important to mention all the wars that happened for capitalism to expand because that usually gets glossed over in the capitalist peace theory. Many places just didn't want so-called free trade or capitalism, and getting them to enter the global economy on terms that favored wealthier nations took a lot of brutal wars of conquest.
Cats really know how to do.
Liberal thinkers developed the idea of gentle commerce fostering peace all over the world. Capitalism, which always required expansion, actively became a catalyst for war instead of an obstacle to it. So many European capitalist nations became colonial empires not for kicks, but because their economies required endless growth to survive. But ignore for a second the wars that installed capitalism all around the world, and let's talk peace real quick. The point of peace is that it's not violence. Obviously. People don't love war, what with all the...
But I wanted to know what cats know how to do. They know how to do the do. It was a kitty litter ad, to be fair. Bernie was my boy, and they did him dirty. What is that? Is it the Sopranos meme? Look what they did to my boy.
Unnecessary suffering and death. And that's actually a problem for the capitalist peace theory. Because even if you discount the wars that made global capitalism
No, was it
possible,
The Godfather? Wait, was it The Godfather or Sopranos? Hold on. It was The Godfather. Okay.
picture you're left with isn't actually less violent.
Yeah, look how they
At
massacred
best,
my boy,
assuming
yes.
capitalist peace theory is true.
Boy, in my context... Oh, I read boy. Okay, I guess it kind of fits, alright? It kind of fits.
True, and countries stopped fighting with one another entirely, violence in the age of global capitalism changed, but didn't go away. Instead of violence between states, the world was left with a permanent state of structural violence turned inward. We live under a tremendously violent system. That's just part of capitalism. If you don't work, you go hungry. You end up homeless. And cops decked out in literal military gear beat you up for the crime of being poor. That's the reality of this economic system, and it persists despite the fact that we have enough food for everyone, enough housing for all, and enough capacity to spread work equitably so that it's not nearly so unbearable. This violence is completely unnecessary. Homelessness and
Unnecessary from a rational point of view, but for capitalism, it's required.
hunger don't need to exist given how much we produce. But they do simply because making life better and providing for everyone's needs unconditionally generates way less profit than—
Right, because it's not, the point isn't to make people's lives better. That's not the point. That is an afterthought that may or may not happen. That is an afterthought. The primary concern of capitalism is profit. That's it. And if it just happens that your product makes somebody's life better, that's an afterthought. It isn't the primary purpose. The purpose is to make line go up every quarter. That's it. Right. The point of society is to make life better. As a society, as a collective, we theoretically, logically, rationally should strive to make life better for everybody. Yes, but that is not the goal of capitalism. The goal of capitalism is, well, profit. It's infinite growth. Every quarter, line must go up. That's it. That's the only thing that you are concerned with. Did this quarter line go up? Yes. Good. Did this quarter line go down? Unacceptable. Doesn't matter if how many people got kicked out of their homes, how many people are unhoused, how many people don't have health care, how many people go hungry. None of that matters. None of that matters. To all the supermarket companies, as an example, to see how many people go hungry and how much excess food they have, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
an artificial scarcity and desperation. And that's before you factor in gendered and racialized violence, violence against immigrants, crackdowns on protests.
True. The executives produce nothing and take everything. They're the real welfare queens. Yep.
And all the overt uses of violence that police the strict hierarchy of this system. For society to get as top-heavy as it is today, without the bigger group of people overthrowing the smaller one, a lot of completely unnecessary violence needs to be doled out. And that's been true in every era of capitalism. It's obvious, but just take how capitalism brutalized the African continent in every century since its arrival. First, slavery drained Africa of its labor force. Then colonial capitalism set up shop for European companies to extract natural resources. That hasn't really stopped, and in fact, skip a few decades and the World Trade Organization, World Bank, and IMF's structural adjustment programs exacerbated these practices. These free trade programs required developing countries to completely restructure their economies in favor of Western companies, opening up their vast markets to foreign capital, adopting austerity politics that cut essential public services in health, agriculture, and education. They trapped developing economies in debt reimbursement schemes that drained them of their remaining wealth, and just to remind you, nobody elected the leaders of these institutions. Or take an even more recent example like NAFTA. Free trade between North American states completely destroyed Union labor and Mexican agriculture while increasing both malnutrition and unemployment. The extremely long-winded point I'm making is that even if you believed that free trade reduces the likelihood of war, the fact remains that everywhere capitalism has extended its logic, people were brought into incredibly violent social structures. Whether that was under colonial powers or decentralized markets, violence doesn't just go away with free trade. It turns inward. Countries might fight each other less. I'll get to that in a second. But violence and the threat of its use structures every part of human existence in this arrangement.
True.
Capitalist peace is still capitalism. And peace is just not a word that applies to the kind of brute force this relies on. But let's get back to the original claim.
Yeah, war is peace.
Liberals make. Has global capitalism really reduced the likelihood of war? Just plain boring war, two countries duking it out. Once countries are in a free trade agreement, does it stop that? Yes or no? Maybe, but probably not. In truth, a lot of research has been devoted to this question, and it's not settled. That's partly because free trade isn't a binary switch countries can turn on and off, and also because bilateralism and multilateralism have very different effects on a country's incentives. Add to that confounding variables like nuclear arsenals, American global hegemony, unequal exchange, non-capitalist trade agreements, and the offshoring of conflicts in proxy wars, and it's really hard to clearly say this one thing is what reduces the incidence of war.
Hey. Clinton did not veto NAFTA and should have. Yep.
At best, liberalized trade seems like it can only delay war temporarily. And here we can turn to World War I and Lenin's theory of imperialism to understand why. Like we just talked about, before World War I, all the capitalist imperialist powers in Europe went out colonizing the planet and spread out like white supremacist butter on toast. English, French, German, Russian, and other empires slowly took over more and more of the planet in search of new markets, resources, and cheap, if not outright free, labor. And in the process, their economies became more entangled with one another. Money moved all over the place. It was a global trading bonanza, and there were European companies everywhere. This was the first era of globalized free trade after mercantilism, and for a while, it actually kind of worked. It provided economic growth and accrued power for these empires thanks to the seemingly endless exploitation on the horizon. The problem is that unlimited growth is necessary for this system to work peacefully. Eventually, you run out of room, physically and metaphorically.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an infinite growth. Echo Resto Dragon, how's it going?
Markets saturate, like a sponge. In order to grow once the whole world was covered, countries couldn't just find new people to subjugate or land to plunder. Growth now had to be at some other country's expense. And that's precisely the situation capitalist powers found themselves in on the eve of World War I. A bunch of European Alexanders wept, for there were no more worlds left to conquer. And triggered partly by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, these countries seized the opportunity to go at each other's throats, in the hopes of weakening and taking over someone else's empire to satisfy their own need to grow. And I'm using World War I as an example, but this problem didn't just disappear. Today, as the world's largest economies compete over international markets, whether that's in oil, natural gas, semiconductors, or something else, even with incredibly porous borders for capital to flow through, proxy wars pop up all over the place, and tensions keep escalating between otherwise loyal trading partners. Someone does eventually need to get their hands on that profit. Peace, human rights, and democracy are all good values, but they're not why wars get fought. To take a very cliché example, Saudi Arabia wouldn't be a multi-billion-dollar trading partner and military ally with the US if we just couldn't tolerate injustice anywhere in the world. It's always for profit.
That's a very good point.
So why would capitalism ever get in the way of that? Capitalism doesn't lead to peace. Capitalism and peace are incompatible. I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that this channel is supported by Nebula.
Alright. Yeah, great point. Definitely something to think about. Alright, let's do a meme story. Because why not? Trump media files a $3.78 billion defamation lawsuit against the Washington Post over Truth Social reporting. Okay. The company behind Trump's Truth Social platform has filed a $3.78 billion defamation suit against Washington Post. The lawsuit filed by Trump Media and Technology Group, TMTG, in Florida's Sarasota County claims that a May 13th article that alleged the company may have committed securities fraud was false and defamatory and posed an existential threat, a $3.78 billion threat, which I'm going to assume, or I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to make a guess and say that Truth Social is not worth $3.78 billion. I'm just gonna, throw that out there as an educated guess. That Truth Social is not worth $3.78 billion. I mean, that's just me. But anyways, the article titled "Trust Linked to Porn-Friendly Bank Could Gain a Stake in Trump's Truth Social" alleged that the company had concealed key details about a proposed merger from the Securities and Exchange Commission and shareholders, citing internal documents provided by a whistleblower. Well, the thing is, if you want to file a defamatory case, you can't file it if, let's just entertain this scenario for a second. If you file a case based on one article because a news agency got what they assumed to be internal documents by a would-be whistleblower, that's going to be a really hard sell. Versus Fox News in the Dominion lawsuit repeatedly and repeatedly and intentionally and knowingly allowed its hosts to spread false information for the sake of ratings and money. That was shown in the documents. The difference is Fox News knew. Fox News executives, producers, and even Murdoch knew. So not only were they aware that bullshit was happening but it was intentional, which is a key factor when you're trying to do a defamation lawsuit, which is why they had to settle for $780 billion, because they knew they were screwed. They knew they were screwed. So that's the difference between, again, hypothetically, if this whistleblower gave bad information, you have to prove that the Washington Post knew, and then did it intentionally with the intent to harm, Trump, whatever bullshit. Trump Media and Technology. The lawsuit claims that the Washington Post had been on a years-long crusade to undermine the Trump media, which was founded in February of 2021. The clickbait headline of the Waffle article immediately grabbed by common minds of readers, falsely insinuating that the TMTG was involved in shady business dealings. I mean, it's Trump. How many shady business dealings do we have to point out? Would it really be out of character if it turns out that this was yet another shady business dealing that had some seriously financially questionable dealings, I should say? Is it really out of the realm of possibility that a lifelong con man who has done shady business after shady business is involved in a shady business? I'm just saying. Trump's lawyers are gonna have their work cut out to prove that defamation claim. Trump University, yes. All of these Trump companies that went under, and some have been sued, like Trump University. It's just like shady con man stuff, that has been like a staple, with the name Trump. The case is the latest in a series of defamation suits brought by Mr. Trump, his political campaign organizations, and companies in recent years. In March 2020, Trump campaign filed a defamation suit against the Post over 2 articles about Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian collusion in his campaign strategy, which, of course, the suit was dismissed by a federal judge this year, a couple months ago. Conscious Canuck resubscribing for 16 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Welcome. How's it going? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Trump not honest? What a shocker. Yeah. Which, yeah, this was dismissed because it was bullshit. Okay. The $100 million defamation suit against the New York Times and his niece Mary Trump alleges an insidious plot to obtain his tax records was thrown out by a New York Supreme Court judge in May because it was bullshit. Damn. I mean, this guy stays taking L's in the court where it actually matters. Where it actually matters. This dude hasn't proven the damn thing. Enjoying Victoria Day. I don't know what that is. Mr. Trump has been ordered to pay all legal fees and costs associated with the case. Womp, womp, womp. In October, Trump sued CNN in a Florida court for $475 million, claiming that he had been smeared with a series of ever more scandalous, false, and defamatory labels. The Independent has contacted the Post for comment. Truth Social was announced in October of 2021 as an alternative to Twitter and Facebook after Mr. Trump was kicked off both platforms for inciting the deadly insurrection. The business, which is 85% owned by Mr. Trump, was hyped with a potential value of $22 billion after investors piled money into Truth Social, Special Purpose Acquisition Company (SPAC). So wait, how does that add up to $38 billion? Sorry, is it 38 or 3.78? Oh, 3.78. Okay. Gotcha. Wait, potential value. I'm sorry, potential value. I think that's a key operative word right there. Potential value. After investors piled money. But according to Forbes, the business was worth about $1.2 billion in April this year. A lot more than I thought, but definitely not 3 times the amount that this dude is filing for. Oh, the celebrating of the British Empire. Gotcha. Yeah, in case we needed like a reminder of all the failed businesses, Trump Steaks, Go Trump, which I don't know what the heck this is, and airlines, vodka. How do you mess that one up? Trump Mortgage, Trump The Game, Trump Magazine, Trump University, Trump Ice. What? The New Jersey Generals, Tour de Trump, Trump Network, Trumped. What is this? Trump Taj Mahal, Trump's Castle, Trump Plaza Casinos. How do you... This guy managed to bankrupt a casino. And somehow a hotel? A resort? Also? That's a good meme. 3 casinos. Truth Social is reportedly under investigation by the Justice Department for alleged money laundering and is subject to probes by the Securities and Exchange Commission and Financial Regulatory Agency. Oh, so wait. Wow, a shocker. He's currently under investigation for for money laundering. So no, pointing out the fact that this guy's engaging in some dubious financial schemes is not defamatory if indeed you are being investigated for said dubious financial dealings. Oh man. I mean, like, at some point, I think that at some point there should be a rule where after X amount of like frivolous lawsuits, like you shouldn't be allowed to sue unless you have like extenuating circumstances. And like at some point, like this dude literally just wastes everybody's time because he hasn't won a single damn thing. And he's wasting everybody's time. He's wasting taxpayer money because people have to hear his bullshit. I mean, like, how the same thing with the election. I think that, like, after, like, the third freaking bullshit-ass fucking case in the election in 2020, I think they should have just barred him from making any more lawsuits. Like, bro, at some point, they just gotta, like, sit him aside and be like, hey, so are you gonna actually produce anything, or are you just gonna continue to waste everybody's time? Because otherwise, you're gonna be held in contempt or whatever bullshit. Like, either put up or shut up. Go away. It's that simple. Like, at some point, like, how many frivolous lawsuits, defamatory lawsuits, should you be allowed to file that continuously waste everybody's time only to be thrown out? He's using PAC money to pay legal bills and it's not good. Oh, no. Wait, you can't really do that, right? Unless you do like some... Oh boy, I don't think you're allowed to do that unless you do some like magic with that money. You can't do that for personal legal bills, right? Or can you? They're doing that now? What, trying to stop him from being able to sue? He's limited to $33K for personal expenses a year. Gotcha. DeSantis is announcing, and Tim and Scott, has he officially announced or is he going to announce? Because yeah, we covered that. Tim Scott, again, no, he's not going to get very far. Tim Scott, single digits, that's for sure. Trump's name and the Trump family should be listed as highly radioactive to businesses and other ventures. I mean, yeah. Any rational person would go as far away as possible from engaging in any financial dealings with anything related tangentially to Trump because of shit like this. Wow. $10 million? Yikes. Which brings up some legality questions. The number 2 senators endorsing Scott. Good luck. Marjorie Taylor Greene launches vicious attacks on Fox News as right-wingers quit conservative network. I mean, yeah, sure. Attack, fine. Eat your own. Some campaign finance experts are raising questions about whether, as a candidate, Trump can continue to use the PAC to pay for its personal legal bills. Those questions are arising as he faces legal challenges on various fronts, as well as intense scrutiny by the by the Justice Department and prosecutors in Georgia and New York. According to some campaign finance experts, having the PAC continue to pay his legal bills now that he is a candidate would be seen as a contribution to him and therefore be subject to legal limits. I mean, surprise, surprise, he's probably engaging in some dubious financial dealings here as well. Oh, man. And these people continue to donate to him. That's the whole, like, that's what's wild to me about it. People still donate to his campaign. The whistleblower cited by the Washington Post, yep, grifter's gonna grift, former Trump media executive Will Wilkerson told the news site that in recent interviews that he'd handed over 150,000 internal documents to federal investigators. So it's not just like a whistleblower that's giving this information to a media outlet. He gave this information to federal investigators, right? Because, like, it's one thing, you know, like if somebody just gives it to the media and, like, you know, hey, I'm gonna just put this out there. But it's another thing to then have that as well, to be like, no, I'm not just like being a whistleblower to the media. I'm giving this stuff to, like, the authorities. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, essentially, is what he's saying. Ooh, Trump doing something dubious and illegal? No. Trump faces substantial damage claims from yeah, I mean, if she decides to sue, then yeah, probably another L. Is it another $5 million L? I don't know. Here's the sucker born every minute, true. Mr. Trump's net wealth plunged by $700 million to $2.5 billion in 2023 due to his investment in the struggling social media platform, according to Forbes. From news to politics, travel, sport, culture to climate, The Independent has oh, my bad. I thought he was going to go into something else. Womp, womp, womp. No, I'm not going to subscribe. So, yeah. Good luck. $3.78 billion. Is this like the Hail Mary that they're going to try to do? Because this guy is going to end up going, like, bankrupt? Trump wants the most lawsuits like you would not believe. True. Nobody does lawsuits like Trump. That's for sure. Like I said, at some point, like, damn, like, you just should not be allowed to continue, like, wasting everybody's time. I think that much is clear. All right, folks. Switching gears for 5 seconds. Tim Pool still posting through his weird comments. Yeah. Yeah. I think he's lost it. I think dude's lost it. I think after being named, after being named, an inspiration, after being named an inspiration to the neo-Nazi shooter, I think dude's lost it. Cause like, just to like, just to understand what he's saying, gender affirming care could mean just like, I don't know, the facial structure. So that has nothing to do, because the implication here, he talked about this in his podcast. What he's getting at is that he thinks in his weird deluded, twisted mind that liberals are going to go extinct because of abortion and gender affirming care. Which, newsflash, no, not all gender affirming care means gender assignment surgery. Also, just because you're trans doesn't always mean that you are not able to have children. That's not always the case. So I don't know what the implication here is. Abortion, and this is true, liberals aren't the only people who get abortions. I know, it's a shock. But liberals, the left, TM, because he's a conservative, so he thinks that liberals are like, basically like liberals are the left, and the left are anyone that the left to these type of people are anyone that's like not hunting homeless people for sport. That's basically the left TM. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, the left TM isn't the only group getting abortions. This is like across the board. This isn't like only left leaning or liberals get abortions. That's like not quite often. It's the opposite. But okay. What is Tim Jewell saying now? He's basically saying that liberals, the left TM, will go extinct and conservatives will end up on top. Caitlyn Jenner is making people mad also. Yeah, I don't really give a shit what she says. I don't really give a shit what Caitlyn Jenner has to say, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, so I think he's literally losing it. Also, it's not really true either. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if like being an inspiration to like a neo-Nazi mass shooter just like broke him, or if like the beanie is just literally cutting off all circulation there. Anyways. How do you get your best life if you can't make decisions about your own body? Almost like conservatives don't really consider that. They actually don't believe in bodily autonomy in any sense of that word. They don't care. They're not interested in allowing people to have and make decisions about their own body. I would amend that with progressives will get the future simply because survival of the fittest. Conservatives are a bunch of room temp melting snowflakes. I mean, yeah. But it's just like the data. First of all, the data doesn't even agree. Like just empirically, the generations are becoming more progressive and more left wing. And furthermore, just like his statement just doesn't make any sense. Like he's living in this like fantasy land that he created, and is trying to will into existence after making several statements on his podcast, to the effect of like, yeah, because liberals are getting abortions and they will eventually go extinct or something. It just makes zero sense. It just makes zero sense. I guess actually I just fell for that trap. Remember, folks, it just clicked in my head. Every accusation is just a confession. Every accusation is just a confession. Maybe what he's telling us is that conservatism is eventually going to implode or self-destruct, which has been the case historically. It's just a matter of like how long and how many people are going to be hurt in that process. All right, folks, really quickly, 3 states to agree to Colorado, historic Colorado River water cuts. The situation's pretty kind of fucked. Not gonna lie. Arizona, California, Nevada struck an agreement to draw less water from the Colorado River, which has been strained by historic climate change-induced megadrought and decades of overuse, the Department of Interior has announced on Monday. The agreement may temporarily keep the waterway and its reservoirs from further depleting and imperiling water supplies for millions of people in crucial agriculture regions across the Southwest. The deal, which was first reported by the New York Times on Monday, but elements of it which were reported by the Washington Post last week, comes after months of negotiating to help prevent a collapse of the Colorado River system, which, man, that's tens of millions of people. As part of the agreement, California, Arizona, and Nevada will conserve at least 3 million acre-feet of water from the river by the end of 2026. An acre-foot is roughly 326,000 gallons, which is enough water to cover an acre of land 1 foot deep. The federal government will spend $1.2 billion through the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act to compensate cities, tribes, and water districts for 2.3 million acre-feet of the conserved water. Again, like, the effects of climate change are pretty significant on the price tag. $1.2 billion just for this. And that's not even taking into account how much negative externalities were derived from this mega drought. Just saying. It's expensive. Not dealing with the problem is getting too expensive. Not getting serious about the climate crisis is getting expensive. You can't simultaneously be like the party of fiscal conservatism where you pretend to care about like, I don't know, economic like sound decisions, and then like look at these figures and be like, yeah, this is sustainable. Yeah, this is sustainable. Never mind that point, Sharpie Diesel. That's a whole separate that's a whole separate point. You also can't, that's very true. You can't drink a compensation. You really can't, because it turns out, and this is true, humans need water. That's a very good point. Collectively, the cuts amount to an unprecedented 13% reduction of total water use in the lower Colorado Basin. Today's announcement is a testament to the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to working with states, tribes, and communities through the West to find a consensus solution in facing of the in the face of climate change and sustained drought. This is but a band-aid, folks. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland said in a statement on Monday. I'm enjoying seeing some sane conservatives standing up. Sane conservative? Don't know about that. Standing up in a city council meeting and telling the raging lunatics to leave the LGBTQIA+, women, kids' books, etc. alone if you profess to be Christian, act more Christ-like. Yeah, the problem is, like, yeah, well, they may have, like, lucid moments like this, which I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying, like, yeah, I don't think, like, at the end of the day, like, what like, if you profess to be Christian, then act more Christ-like. The more radical elements don't really care. Surfer McGritty, how's it going? And those conservatives who have moments like this, they don't last. They don't last. They'll get pushed out. It usually comes from the conservatives with the gay kid crowd, but I'll take what I can get. I'm not saying that, you know, when it comes to, like, you know, standing up and, like, pushing back against legislation that is incredibly harmful. I'm not saying that this is useful. I'm just saying that, like, the movement, the conservative movement right now, as it stands, will basically, they'll just eat it. They'll just eat those people. They're not interested. That's not the prime directive of conservatism right now. It's not that it's not good, it's just a little too late. Yeah, it's a fair point as well. That's a fair point. Like, you can't go living your life, like, as a conservative and saying it's not a problem until it's my problem, and then now you're up in arms when it affects you. Now you're up in arms when it affects you. Now when your wife is literally bleeding in front of the fucking hospital that won't take her, because she hasn't crashed yet. Oh, now it becomes very fucking real. I don't know. It's just like, will I take it as a strategic, W, like a strategic lowercase w, when it comes to, like, anything that pushes back against this type of legislation, from, like, anti-LGBTQIA legislation, from, like, like, all these, like, legislations coming down the pipeline, anti-abortion legislation, all of this, like, anything that can potentially be used as a barrier, I will take. But it's just like, I don't know. What are we talking about? Oh, Conscious Canuck said there was a he made a comment, or they made a comment saying, I'm enjoying seeing some sane conservatives standing up in city council meetings and telling the raging lunatics to leave the LGBTQIA+, women, kids' books, and etc. alone if you profess to be Christian, act more Christ-like. Basically, what they were saying is that apparently there was some pushback and some standing up against some of the more radical elements. What I'm saying is that, like, yes, I will take that as a strategic win to put up whatever barriers necessary to prevent all this legislation that has been passing. I'm just hesitant to I'm just hesitant that like the conservative movement is going to change. And these type of people are most likely the type of people that have the mentality of it's not a problem until it's my problem, but like, damn dude, really? Now? Like I said, I'll take whatever I'll take whatever it is that presents a barrier to these legislations. That's basically where I would stand. It's like, yeah, is it good? Yeah. I'm just weary, if that makes sense. Wary. Not weary, wary. Right? Yeah. Gotta make sure I got my words right. Wary. Along with being crucial for the Southwest agriculture and outdoor recreation industry, the river is also a key to the region's power grid, and the electricity generated by the dams on Lake Mead and Powell provide power to millions of homes and businesses. The river also provides drinking and irrigation water to the Mexican state of Baja California and Sonora. Overhanging Monday's agreement was a proposal from the federal government to unilaterally assign water reductions evenly among lower basin states to boost dangerously low water levels at Lake Mead and Powell. The agreement must be finalized before it goes through a federal government review process, which the Interior said would begin earlier next month. All 7 states that draw from the Colorado River said they support the review of the proposal. We'll see, but the point being is that the climate crisis is getting incredibly expensive, and it's incredibly serious. I mean, like, not only are we jeopardizing drinking water for tens of millions of people here and in Mexico, but we're jeopardizing power for millions of people. We're jeopardizing, well, the way we make food. There's just so many domino effects here because we refuse to acknowledge and act in a serious manner on the climate crisis. That's the TLDR on this one. So to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, Conscious Canuck, let's talk about this. Nebraska governor signed 12-week abortion ban limits on gender-affirming care for minors. The Republican, of course, Governor Jim Pillen signed a bill that bans abortion at 12 weeks of pregnancy and restricts gender-affirming medical care for people younger than 19. The abortion ban takes effect immediately, while the ban on gender-affirming care takes effect on October 1st. The hybrid measure ties together restrictions that Republicans have pursued across the U.S. Once one blueprint gets carried out, it just kind of spreads. Pillen calls the law the most significant win for social conservative agenda in over a generation. Jesus Christ. Man. Yikes. So what was that about, like, conservatives again? Sorry. While holding the 5-day... before he signed the law, while holding the 5-day-old daughter of some friends as his 2 oldest granddaughters stood next to him. It's about protecting our kids and saving babies. Protecting our kids. From what? Saving babies? What are you talking about? This doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. You're not saving babies by allowing somebody to make a decision with their body. What are you on about? There are literal stories of people waiting outside the emergency room, waiting till they have bled enough blood or are crashing to be admitted, so that they can have the medical procedure that they needed to begin with. We are talking about people who have been forced to give birth to a fetus who is not going to make it. And made this person go through, not person, people. This is this isn't just like one of events. After these laws have been passed across the country, these have been multiple incidents of people being forced to give birth to a fetus that is not going to live, that is not viable, but because it had a heartbeat or because it was viable, but it wasn't going to live very long outside the womb because it was missing, like the different like medical conditions that can happen, because that's it happens. Okay, there are medical conditions that happen to make the fetus non-viable even at late stage pregnancies when the person wanted to have a kid, but you know these things happen and now they're forced to do this. So please spare me the fucking bullshit. This isn't about babies or kids. The irony is allowing people access to abortion. The irony is allowing people access to abortion access could potentially save babies. Yep. But they're not interested in that. They don't actually care. They don't actually care about kids. Unless it's to exploit them. They don't care about babies unless it's to exploit them. Whether it be for political gain, whether it be for PR, whether it be for power, nothing. They don't really give a shit about any of this. Except for power, unless it helps them gain power. That's it. That's the only thing that these people are interested in is control and power. Opponents have promised to sue and tried blocking this law. The head of the ACLU in Nebraska, Mindy Rush Chipman, said in a statement that every option is on the table to undo these regressive measures. The governor's decision to sign these sweeping restrictions into law betrays a total disregard for Nebraskans' freedom, health, and well-being. Just as we have seen in other states, these bans will result in significant harm, most intensely hurting people of vulnerable communities. I mean, yeah, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. Cruelty is the fucking point. Nebraska has not passed a new abortion ban since 2010 when it became the first state to limit the procedure at 20 weeks of pregnancy. The 12-week ban includes exceptions for rape and incest and to save the life of the mother, whatever that means. Yeah, saving the babies is something they hide behind. They clearly don't care about babies or actual people at all. That's under the presumption that they actually see them as people. You're under the presumption that they see, for example, the woman who was sitting outside the hospital. You're actually under the presumption that they see her as a person. They don't. Remember, the Bible and these theocrats, the Bible essentially says that women and children are property. That's what this is about. If that makes more sense, put it into that put in that context. It makes a lot more sense, right? Put in that context. It makes a lot more sense. State Senator Joni Albrecht of Thurston, who pursued even tougher abortion restrictions during the session, wiped away tears as she said she hopes to eventually enact a ban at all stages of pregnancy. Holy shit. Whew. Oh, man. North Carolina also recently passed a 12-week abortion ban along a slew of number of restrictions enacted after the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade. 14 states have also approved an abortion ban through pregnancy. Nebraska will also prevent trans people under 19 from receiving any gender confirming surgery. It restricts the use of hormone treatments, puberty blockers in minors, putting the state's medical chief officer, political appointee, who is an ear, nose, and throat doctor, in charge of setting the rules? Wait, you're getting a what is the name for these people? Not ophthalmologists. God, what is the name? The appropriate name for ENT? Shoot, I don't know. A person who has nothing to do with the treatment of trans people is going to be put in charge of this. A state's unicameral legislation passed a bill with two contentious issues on Friday. After hours of heated debate, conservative lawmakers wrangled just enough votes to end a filibuster before approving the bill. Cool. Nice meme. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes, okay. In Spanish, now that I remember, in Spanish is otolaringólogo. Yeah, okay. I can't pronounce it in English. So Spanish it is for me. Yeah, thank you, the simulacra. I can't pronounce it in English, but I can pronounce it in Spanish. How about them apples? Yeah, ENT is easier. No, ophthalmology, that's completely way off for me. Sorry. Ophthalmology, I think, is eyes? Eyes, I want to say? Doctor of Human Head Holes. There you go. What is an ophthalmologist? Yeah, ophthalmologist. There we go. Yeah. Ophthalmologist is eye care. Okay, yeah, we're whoof. Wow, you can just ignore me on that one. So, like, the point of, like, bringing this up and continuously, like, hammering this on the head over and over and over and over and over again, and I will continue to do this, is to, like, seriously drive the point home of a political movement, party, that consistently and repeatedly does not care, does not recognize the right to bodily autonomy. Of course, they're passing these laws. And it's not just abortion. It's these anti-LGBTQIA laws. That's why this was so important. Once you understand that once you see in the context that these people don't really care about bodily autonomy, all this starts to make sense. Making a decision about yourself is just not okay. To them. Does that make sense? I have a question. What does hormone treatment mean? What does the restriction of hormone treatment mean? Because I needed hormone treatment when I was a child. Would that mean I get screwed out of medical treatment? Something to think about. These laws are usually written very sloppily. Yeah, but I think it's on purpose. You're right. They're written very sloppily, but I think it's I think cruelty is the point. And like, If there are like, what is it? Collateral damage, so be it. If there are collateral damage, so be it. I think they just don't care. But yes, you're right. It's very sloppily, very vague, and I think it's on purpose. I think it's on purpose. We need to fund proctologists for conservatives to serve the necessary function of assisting them with getting their heads out of their asses. Oh man. I mean, you can't really help them there if they're the ones that put it there themselves. If that makes sense. Hey, here's a cool story. DeSantis' $13.5 million dollar police program lures officers with violent records to Florida. Cool. Hey. Reads headline, well, it's a good thing Florida doesn't have a ton of people of color. Yeah. And getting these officers who have had records, including murder, which we'll get to. Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong can go here, right? What could possibly go wrong? $13.3 million for this, by the way. Numerous police officers lured to new jobs in Florida with cash from Governor DeSantis' flagship and law enforcement relocation program have histories of excessive violence or have been arrested for crimes including kidnapping and murder since signing up. Nice. Excellent job, DeSantis. This guy, by the way, is the guy who is currently about to announce a run for presidency. Now imagine this guy being president. Like, I mean, sheesh. If that doesn't scare you, I mean, DeSantis, who is expected to launch his campaign for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination this week, has spent more than $13.5 million to date on the recruitment bonus program, which he touted in 2021 as an incentive to officers in other states frustrated by COVID vaccine mandates. Yeah, that's what it was about. That's what it was about. This will go a long way to ensuring that we can have the best and brightest, violent criminals, who have been arrested for crimes which include kidnapping. Well, actually, yeah, this makes a lot more sense. I mean, they're police. Huh. Murder, kidnapping, excessive violence, which I guess excessive force. No, I guess it makes sense. They literally won't accept the brightest as cops. True. Good point. This will go a long way to ensure we can have the best and brightest filling on law enforcement ranks, such as kidnappers and murderers and violent people. Yeah, okay. I mean, just cops, I guess. So the Republicans' Attorney General Ashley Moody said April of last year, DeSantis announced a one-time $5,000 bonus for new recruits. However, among the 600 officers who moved to Florida and received the bonus or were recruited in the state are a sizable number who either arrived with a range of complaints against them who have since accrued criminal charges. They include former trainee deputy with the Escambia County Sheriff's Office charged with murdering her husband. Holy shit. An officer with the Miramar Police Department fired for domestic battery and kidnapping. Like, dude, so yeah, TLDR, he's part of that, Google 40% of cops for more information. But yeah, Google 40% of cops for more information. And like, the only thing that happened to this guy was that he got fired for beating his wife and kidnapping. That's what that means. Fired for domestic battery, i.e., I beat my spouse or partner. DeSantis announces new test squad. Yeah. Yes, the 40%. Yep. And or kids. True. And or kids. That's right. And a former member of the New York Police Department who was hired by the Palm Beach Police Department once having been accused of improper sexual proposition. Yeah, surprise. That officer named by the Daily Dot as Daniel Medlin was also part of a $160,000 settlement for violence at a 2020 protest against the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, in which officers were accused of beating black males without provocation. Oh man, yikes. And this is the kind of people that are now going to be policing in Florida? Yeah. And did any of these people see jail time for assault? Did any of these people receive jail time for assault? No, the NYPD just paid out $160 out of taxpayer money to make that problem, to settle that problem. A Palm Beach police spokesperson told the Daily Dot that Medlin, who had complaints against him, including abuse of authority and sexually propositioning a teenager, found a groomer, had disclosed his background during the hiring process. Oh, hey, look, guys, it's okay because he told us about it. What? Everybody, no, not to worry. He told us about it, so it's okay. He had disclosed his background during the hiring process, according to the NYPD Watchdog 58 org. He has been an exemplary officer since he was hired in October of 2022, the same month he left NYPD. An exemplary officer who propositions teenagers for sex, a groomer, and who has had complaints about abuse of authority. Yeah, exemplary officer. Gotcha. Cool. While denying a request to allow Medlin to be interviewed. Yeah. I don't think they want that guy talking too much. I mean, Cop City is being built. The cops are never going to see jail time or be punished for their failings. Seems very unlikely. It is so rare to see accountability. The Daily Dot compiled its report from state records it obtained from the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity through a Freedom of Information Act request. The undated document lists payments of more than $8.8 million split between 1,310 newly hired officers, with most receiving $6,693 with 44 cents from the signing on and additional bonuses. This is the most punishment most of them face, getting fired and having to move to a new cop job. Exactly. No accountability whatsoever. No real accountability. Because, so what if I get fired from this department? I'll just pop up and show my face in another department. Screw it. Or go to Florida, where I'm literally going to be paid, over $6,000 in bonuses? In a press release earlier this month, DeSantis announced the program has grown since to more than 2,000 officers, with a parallel rise in cost to more than $13.5 million. It says it has, for its report, the Daily Dot matched information from 58 and NYPD databases as well as published media reports, the officer's name listed by the state. It says it uncovered an exodus of officers to Florida law enforcement agencies from NYPD in the wake of a backlash against the department for its brutal handling of racial justice protests in 2020 after the murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer. Among them were at least 24 officers whose name matched those of the NYPD Civilian Complaint Review Board database, including some who, according to those complaints, unlawfully pepper sprayed, assaulted, and pointed their firearms at suspects, as well as used chokeholds and offensive language regarding race and ethnicity, i.e. slurs. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Which kind of give you a painting of the type of people that are going to be that got hired, and their beliefs. Yeah. Cool. A civil rights lawsuit filed in 2018 against former NYPD Sergeant Hytham Husameldin alleged the officer used physical violence against a teenager on her way to school. Not surprising. Husameldin, who's now employed by Florida's Minneapolis Police Department, accrued 6 formal complaints already. Nice, including multiple allegations of abuse of authority. Checks out. Overuse of physical force. Checks out. Given the fact that he's had years, it's 2023. Since 2018, he's had several complaints against him for the very same thing. So, yeah. In New York, they did not said all complaints were withdrawn or unsubstantiated. Another New York officer now employed in Florida was involved in 2 deaths, one of which led to a $100,000 civil settlement. Yikes. In October of 2022, a Apopka Police Department hired as an officer, Justin Burgos, 19, the son of a retired NYPD deputy inspector, who a year earlier was charged with reckless endangerment, reckless driving, and obstruction of government administration for driving his car into protesters in Manhattan, calling for the firing of an officer accused of beating a black suspect. Yeah, none of the police agencies contacted for comment responded other than Palm Beach Department that they did not reported. The DeSantis office did not return a request for comment from The Guardian. Like, yeah, dude, I mean, it's what can be expected. It's DeSantis and it's Florida. So, yeah. So this happened in Florida. The Orlando Police Department is investigating after a digital traffic sign displayed an anti-gay hate message early Wednesday morning. Around 3:54 reports came in regarding a suspicious incident in the area of Lake Nona Boulevard and Nemours Parkway. A traffic sign located in the area was reportedly altered to read "Kill all gays." OPD said the digital traffic sign had been appeared to be tampered with, and there's an ongoing investigation into the incident. Yeah, this is not a joke, by the way. This is not a prank. This is not a ha hee hee. We're gonna mess with the billboard or with the little traffic thing. No. I don't think so. I don't think this is a prank or joke in any way, shape, or form. I think this is serious. I think it's meant to obviously send a message. Given the fact that like the NAACP just issued like a warning, like a travel warning to Florida, and then like literally this weekend this happened. I mean, yeah, hate has no place in Orlando, and discussing display is not who we are as a community. To Orlando's LGBTQ+ residents and visitors, you're respected and valued here, and we won't be deterred in our efforts to ensure that our city is inclusive for all. Anyone with regards to information, call the police department. This hateful message appeared on the same day that Governor DeSantis signed HB 1438, titled Protection of Children Law. The bill, which was signed on Wednesday, allows the state to fine, suspend, or revoke the license of any public lodging establishment or public food service establishment if the establishment admits a child to a adult live performance. These establishments are already for adults if you're going to have adult live performance. Whatever. With the signing of HB 1438, Pride events have been canceled across the state, including the annual Tampa Pride on the River event. Not because of the law, but the chilling effect of the legislation has caused this effect. Yeah, truly unnerving to be in Florida. That's for sure. And this guy wants to be president. I want people to remember that this person wants to be president. This person wants to be president. And should this person become president, and should this person also find themselves with a Republican House and Senate, things like this is incredibly scary. It's an incredibly scary scenario. Cancellations are attributed to a climate of fear. Yep. Yep. It's a chilling effect. It's not because of the law that says it's outlawed. It's the implicit kind of like threat because they don't know. So they, out of an abundance of caution, all these events are being canceled because of a chilling effect. You're correct. And this dude wants to be president? It's like setting the stage up for stochastic terrorism. Yeah, these, yes. I just want people to have, like, to put that in perspective. This guy wants to be president. Asterisk, this guy might be, have a genuine shot 2028 when Trump is not a factor. This guy might have a shot in 2028 when Trump isn't a factor anymore. Because right now Trump is way ahead of him by double digits. But come 2028, after he's had years to kind of put himself on the national stage, he's got 4 years, and throw his hat again in 2028, he's got a much better shot. Biden stays in 2024, meaning like he's going to be the meaning he's going to be the nominee probably. Not exactly the first chat I would choose. Try again. Trump is going to be the nominee for the GOP side, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Right now it seems, I don't want to say like set in stone, but it seems most likely. I mean, it seems to me like unless DeSantis covers a double-digit deficit, it's gonna be Trump, and there's no other nominee right now on the field that gets close to Trump in terms of who has the nomination with the Republican side. Come 2028, when this guy has had 4 years to kind of polish himself on the national stage, on the national stage, that's when things get a little hoof. That's when things get a little unnerving. Cause this guy, this guy's the real deal. This guy's the real deal. Do not underestimate DeSantis. He's very dangerous. He's very dangerous. Trump goes to jail and Biden has a health crisis. Then what? I don't know. I don't know. If that happens, we'll cross that bridge at that point. DeSantis will make America hate again. I mean, he's doing a pretty good job of that in Florida. Clearly. We just went over an article. It's going to be Trump versus Biden again. If Trump is disliked by the Republican politicians, he's still massively popular with his voter base. Yes. Yes. People in Florida love him after all the bullshit he's done. Yes. They are actively voting for them. Hello, 4-day account that's been banned in several chats? Huh. Anyways. Florida used to think he was an ass until Trumpism. Or maybe he just allowed them to say what they really wanted to say. I don't know. It seems like love from YouTube. Hey, how's it going, Duke? Yeah. Oh man. Scary stuff. Scary, scary stuff. Scary stuff. A scenario with him as president with a Republican Senate and House is just it's just bad news. It's just bad news. It's Florida everywhere. I mean, can you imagine the laws that would be passed under DeSantis presidency with Republican GOP with Republican House and Senate majorities? Scary, scary stuff. Yeah, I'm low-key scared. Yeah. It's definitely enough to warrant it. I think DeSantis would solidify the split in the country. Would solidify this the split in conservatism. Or you mean like solidify the split in terms of like, okay, people are not going to take this. Maybe, but it won't matter. It won't matter if you have a unilateral party that has both the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It won't matter. Right now, states are literally just not following federal laws anymore and distancing themselves from the government. To a degree, kind of. Some, yes. I imagine his presidency was solidified just effing off. I don't know. Or a heavier hand in terms of authoritarianism. That's the way I see it. States becoming more and more like countries in an attempt to not be part of that union. Maybe. I don't know. So many states have already showed interest in doing so. Maybe, but it's not really like a thing that can be accomplished nowadays. Every time like Texas like throws a fit, they threaten to secede. They never do. You'll see a lot of libs fall in line behind the fash. As long as like the fash is civil and not use mean words, then yes. All right, folks. I gotta get going. I'm hungry. I'm hungry and it's past the 7 o'clock, so I gotta get going, folks. If you enjoy the content and you want to support the channel but can't monetarily, hit the follow button if you haven't already. It really does help us out. Deuces, thank you so much, Surfer McGritty. Appreciate it. I'll give you guys a shout out in just a moment. Loving the work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You can also support the the stream by going on to the YouTube channel and hitting the big red subscribe button and spreading the word far and wide. Bring a friend, always. Bring a friend. Bring a friend to the stream or introduce them to the stream. It really does help us out. Thank you so much for the subscriptions. Thank you, Alio. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the biddies, all of that. Thank you guys so much. You guys are what makes this channel grow. A couple of shout outs before I go. Please consider following twitch.tv/AlioShare. I'm just going to do that. There's another diamond in chat, twitch.tv/Surfer McGritty. And twitch.tv/Beccasphere, who is here. Phenomenal stuff. I definitely recommend to go follow them. Wait, did I mess it up? Surfer McGritty. Hey. Okay, well, there's her link. Now, let's try Surfer. Hello. There we go. There's her link. All right. Cool. Perfect. So yes, please go follow Surfer McGritty. You can find them at twitch.tv/Surfer McGritty. Beccasphere, twitch.tv/Beccasphere. Alio, twitch.tv/AlioShare. I think I got everybody. I appreciate it. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Thank you so much, Conscious Canuck, for the sub. All right, folks. As always, thank you guys for the support. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for keeping the peace. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.